All right, hello everyone, and peace of Christ to all. Today, our news review, and we will analyze some event happening around us, especially in the Middle East. All of us we heard about that the Kurdish in Kurdistan in Iraq, they are going to vote for independence, and obviously this is a very unpleasant news for countries around them. So today we'll try to look together and see what is really the unique about what's happening or this event. You know, the Kurdistan once they were able to have a state, but was in the World War II, and when the Soviet Union expanded, they were able to collapse that state. But it was not really in Iraq. However, the Kurdish, as we see in front of us, this is a map for the population of the Kurdish. And if we look together, we will see that the Kurdish are spread in more than one country, actually, at least in 4 countries. Now, for sure, there's countries all around the world, you know, but we are talking about where the Kurdish are considered a big population. When we say big population, still they are minority in some countries, but they count millions. As an example, the Kurdish in Iran is about 8 million. The Kurdish in Iraq is 5 million. The Kurdish in Syria is 2 million. The Kurdish in Turkey is 18 million. Now that is not a good news for many countries, and those people obviously they are seeking their independence. Now, what is new about the Kurdish? Why the Kurdish right now or today they are trying to seek to establish a citizenship and a country and nationality, while they were always under the command of the neighbors? You know, when religion value take over, nationalism go down, and I'm talking about Islam specifically. If the religion is Islam is taken over, nobody dare to speak about his nationality. Remember, Muhammad, he fought that, and he said it clearly, if somebody is, even the Arab, if he is proud about his heritage before Islam, say to him, go and bite the penis of your father. You know, Muhammad is a savage man, so he used a very disgusting language. So what's happening right now is the Kurdish finally, by the help of USA, this is the only benefit actually from the war which done by George Bush in Iraq. The Kurdish were able to have their own. Yes, they are part of Iraq, but they are now independent. Yes, they don't have a state by their own, but they have their own government, they have their own army, they have their own ministers. So it was a step, big step, huge one, by the help of George Bush to establish what is called today the Kurdistan. Otherwise, this will be a dream, will never happen. Now, because the Kurdish, they suffer a lot from the Arab and from the Muslims, the Kurdish today, they are far away from Islam and they hate it. Additional to their hate to the Arab because of the discrimination they face from the Arab through centuries. Additional to their hate to the Turkish because of discrimination they face through centuries. Same to Iran. But now the Kurdish are trying to establish an, you know, like their own state, which is going to be a secular state, and obviously Islam have no place in it. And the Christianity is growing in Kurdistan like fire. You know, there's a lot of Kurdish people converting to Christianity, and there's no doubt about this. So now all those countries around the Kurdish population, all of them, they are trying to fight as much as they can establishment of the Kurdistan in Iraq. And for sure, the first one to do that is Turkey and Iran. Now, this is the location where the Kurdish are in Iraq, and then they continue actually here, and almost they control all the way to here in Syria. This is already under their physical control by arm, not just population. In other countries, the Kurdish, they have no control, like Iran or Turkey. If you look with me in the map, you will see that those yellow dots, every dot count 1,000,000 in this map. Every yellow dot, it count 1,000,000 in that map. So now, what is really unique about this, and why it is scary for many countries around? If the Kurdish were able to establish what it's called Kurdistan Iraq, that means soon the Kurdistan of Syria, they will unite with Kurdistan of Iraq, and soon the Kurdistan of Iran will unite with the Kurdistan of Iraq, and then the Kurdistan of Turkey, which is 18 million at least. At least. Actually, I believe it's more. Things is not looking good for Turkey specifically, and for Iran, and for the rest. But the important for us, me as a Christian, that Kurdistan is already opening the door for Christian missionaries, and a lot of Kurdish converting to Christianity. And actually, I just saw a video, I wish I can play it for you, how Kurdish people, they are making fun of Muhammad, and they have a flag of Israel and the flag of Kurdistan in the floor, and they were kissing the flag of Israel and saying Allahu Akbar, which means this is their Akbar, you know, which means Islam is bye-bye. Everybody saying they are against this independent of Kurdistan. And when I say everybody, almost everybody, even Trump, official, like the foreign minister, etc., they mentioned that they are against this independent. But is that true? I mean, how in the world, anyone in the world would believe that what they are saying in public is true? Obviously, number one supporters for the independence of the Kurdistan is the Israeli and the American. And the reason of that is very important. You see, right now, Israel, they do not need to fight Iran from here. They do not need that. They can fight Iran from here. And that will give a very strategic defense ability to the Israeli. And I believe strongly the first thing the Israeli will do, they will put their defense system, the Doom system, in this Kurdish territory. So any missiles will try to go and fly into Israel is going to be destroyed long before it arrives. Please focus with me in the topic. We are not here for joking. If you are not interested, you can leave. So if the Israeli are able to establish their defense system here, and for sure when the Kurdish they have their independent, they will be happy to have such a system installed in their territory, because that will give them more security against Turkey, against Iraq, against all the enemies around. So this is a very important to Israel. This is like a treasure. It's like the Israeli today, they won the lotto of the world. So this is very important to happen. Same time, right now the Turkish, they are starting to threat the Kurdish that even they might do an army attack on them. And you know, the Kurdish are controlling all this area, not controlling by arm, but they are the total population. So the reason Turkey are so worried, if those Kurdish they get their independent and they get their state, those Kurdish will not accept to stay as part of Turkey no more. And we are talking about 18 millions Kurdish in Turkey. And I believe this is the first step of the future destruction of Turkey. Turkey will be destroyed because Turkey, you know, for those who do not know, there's 18 millions Kurdish, yes, but there's more than 21 millions Alawi too. And those Alawi are considered the same as Shia, you know, and they don't really care for Islam. You know, Alawi, they are not even, we even cannot call them Shia. You know, they drink vodka more than water. Their women, they don't have a mosque. You know, the mosque is a place to, like for a funeral only, like funeral house. They don't pray, they don't care for Islam. They are just, you know, by name, they are Muslims. The same as the Alawite in Syria. So what's happening here, that we are going to face very soon a lot of fights between the Kurdish and between the neighbors, and all the neighbors are against it. Now here, just to show you the hypocrisy of those who call themselves Muslim, and specifically the Arab. Muslims are asking for the Palestinian, as they call them, independent. And they keep saying, okay, let us give them the vote. You know, shouldn't people vote if they want to be part of Israel or not? Look how hypocrite they are. They support independent state for Palestinians, and they say, let us see who want to stay with Israel, who don't want to stay with Israel. And then they don't accept the same equality of right to those who they are Kurdish. Islamic countries always they have a double standard. Depend they are talking about who. As an example, the Saudi, they want to fight the Assad regime. He is bombing his people, etc. Because they don't want him. They want a democracy. They don't want, which is a big garbage. There's nobody there want democracy. All those are Islamic militant. They are Al-Qaeda and ISIS. In the same time, the Saudi, they rejected the election where those who support the Shia in Yemen, they won the election. And they wage war against the Shia in Yemen. So it is not allowed to do so in Syria for the government to defend their right to stay, but it's allowed for the government, for Saudi to replace a government by a government of their wish. So what's happening now, that Syria, the government of Syria for sure is not happy to see Kurdistan is getting their independence. So they have forces against it. Let us make the ones who are against in a blue. Those are in blue. The Syrian forces against the Kurdish, the Iranian forces against the Kurdish, the Iraqi forces against the Kurdish, and the Turkey forces against the Kurdish. Now who's left? Almost all their neighbors are against them. The only friend who is not against them is the Israeli. And as I say, this is very, very important for the Israeli, because now the Israeli, they can establish their army base inside Kurdistan, which is going to be the front line to fight Iran, and then all the missiles of Iran is useless, because before even they fly to pass over Syria to hit Israel, long before that they have at least alarm system which can make them able to destroy their missiles long before they arrive to Israel. Now Trump and his team, they said we are against it, but I believe that this is a big fat lie. I believe it. Trump is saying to the Kurdish, yes, do it, yes, but in the this is under the table, But above the table, we are against this. We are asking the Kurdish to change that. That it's a wrong timing, etc. But I believe strongly that America want this to happen, and America is going to be the first one. Actually, already we have a council in Kurdistan. So all what we need to do, changing the name from a council to an embassy, as simple as that. You know, there is, you know, we mentioned about we don't want to change the topic, and somebody is asking me about the prophecy of September 23rd. Already we are September 24th, right? And already we exposed those liars. You know, those guys don't believe anyone tell you about the date of you know, next week the judgment day will happen. And you know, those mad people, you know, you see, Muslims, they have mad people, and Christians, they have some weird people who eat too much hummus. You know what I mean? Yeah, so we have such like some Christians the same as Muhammad. They have some mental issue. So don't listen to those people. The Bible is so clear. No one know the day and the hour save the Father. That's it. Anyone try to give you a date and start, you know, this is a shish kebab guy. He is either making a business or making money of it. Just stay away from them. Here we go. They keep talking about last month we have what, August 21st. August 21st, the eclipse, whatever, blah blah blah, a big sign and articles, blah blah blah. Okay, eclipse happened. It's a normal eclipse. I made a video about it. I told everybody this is garbage. You know, don't listen to them. And the same, you know, after 2 weeks, here we go, September 23rd, and unique, what is going to happen, blah 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 blah, and nothing happened. And okay, and soon you will see they will come back. They will come back with a new month, with a new day. They will never stop. Those people, they are making money from it. It's a business. Now let's continue here. I believe that this is the start of the collapse of Islam. Kurdistan, by having their own establishment as a state, they have no choice except rejecting Islam totally, fighting Islam totally, because Islam brought nothing to them except disaster and killing. Do you know what Saddam Hussein did to them? Saddam Hussein, he did use chemical weapons. He killed more than 10,000 people in one town. All of them are Kurdish. And just to show you how hypocrites the Muslims are, when Saddam Hussein hit Halabja, which is a Kurdish, you know, in Kurdistan, by chemical weapon, not even one Muslim went in the street to say something against Saddam Hussein. Not even one. In the West, in the East, in even those who live in Europe, nobody. Because Saddam Hussein, for the Muslim Sunni, he is a hero. He is killing the Kurdish. Chemical weapon, not just, you know, I mean, 10,000 people in one day. Imagine, it's not like the whole year, the whole war, just in one day. So Muslims are hypocrites, and by the crimes they committed against the Kurdish now, they hate Islam to death. They don't want Islam to be even close to them. Every Kurdish person is anti-Islam. So this is going to be like the let us say the new start of a new era where Christianity is going to re-implemented in the Middle East. And actually already I know, I have a friend who I visited him before. They have 2 radio stations. This person alone, he have 2 radio stations who they are broadcasting in Kurdistan, Christian stations, you know, legally, officially, and even the government, they give them the license. He said the license was given to us over 1 day. We did not even like wait for the second day. You know, this is how easy it was. You know, they are welcoming them. Come preach the gospel, invite people to Christianity, no problem. Build the churches. You are more than welcome. And more and more and more Kurdish are converting to Christianity. But it's not the same to those who they are trying to be Islamist. The Kurdish, they are tracking them and they are kicking them out, because They have a very long history of faith of Islam in their territory, and enough is enough. Uh, so Israel now should take a stand, additional stand, not only saying I'm going to approve this election. Israel should take a stand, an army stand, and immediately after the Kurdish announce their independence, Israel should, with the agreement of the Kurdish, I'm very sure they will be happy to have that, to send arms forces and tanks and missiles and all, because those people, they are now depending in no one except friends who share, let us say, interest. You see, in the world of international world, there's no really friends. There's benefit. You know, people, they share benefit. So Israel have a great benefit from the Kurdish, and Kurdish, they can have a great benefit from Israel. There's no love really. It's not about love. I love you and you love me. This does not really exist between countries. This is about benefit, what you can do for me and what I can do for you. So Kurdish, their existence depend in a few countries supporting them, because everybody almost against them, especially in the location we are located, and which is very important, because if you notice here with me, the Kurdish, they have a problem, and the problem is they don't have any access almost to the sea. You know what I mean? Their access really good. If we go to Google, as I know, there's no access, not even small one, to the sea. So that will be really a problem for the Kurdish in the long run, because export, import, you know, everything is going to be by air, and if the countries around them are going to make, let us say, you know, sanctions against them, and they will not open their borders, then the Kurdish, they will suffer badly. If we go to Google, we open Google Earth, just to look at the map. We clean the screen, and then we go to Kurdistan. Kurdistan. All right. Okay, this is the major territory for the Kurdish. All right. Now, as you see, there is nothing around them where they are connected to the sea, as I know. They are surrounded by land from every direction, and the only way to get into the sea, if they get their Kurdish brothers to make a revolution here and maybe reach all the way to this area, and this is important. This is impossible. You know, Tehran is very important, very close to Kurdistan, as you see. If you look with me, I don't know if it's clear for you in the map. Let us zoom in. So taking a decision of independence or independent is not really easy, because they don't have any borders with any friends. Zero. How they are going to get their import and export? Who is going to provide them with such an exit to the world? Even their airlines have to fly over other territory, which is like, you know, Turkey, Iran, Iraq, Syria. There's no choice. And all those countries, they are 100% against the independence of the Kurdish. So how they will maintain their, let us say, import export. I'm not sure really how they do it. Uh, look like everything is going to be by airplanes, especially in the beginning when they establish a state, because Iran will put sanctions on them, Turkey will put sanctions, Syria will put sanctions, Iraq will put sanctions, and they have no borders with Israel. So already they are surrounded by every enemy is possible to be enemy, and they are already actually enemies. So taking the independent is going to be very hard, but look like the Kurdish are very much sure they want to do that. So I believe in the beginning is going to be very much full of a struggle, because I believe right away the Turkish, they will start putting their sanctions, they will close the borders with them, they will not allow any import or export. The Iranian will do the same, and the Iraqi will do the same, and for sure the Syrian. However, there's something unique about the Syrian, because as you remember we said that the Kurdish already control this area in Syria. And as long there's no borders here, really, there's no real borders, I believe still the Kurdish, they can smuggle a lot of things from Syria, and that going to go through all the way to Kurdistan, because those Kurdish here, they are seeking local independence, which means they are not asking for now for full independence from Syria. They are saying we want to have a local government, and I think mostly it's going to be this way, and they are sponsored by USA. So this is the only way for the Kurdish, the Kurdish in Kurdistan to breathe, is the Kurdish in Syria, because they have no borders, and this is a long border here, and actually smuggling things is very easy. Now there is other fight happening, which is in the city of Kirkuk. Kirkuk is a city full of oil, and Iraq trying to get their hands in Kirkuk, and the Kurdish, they will not let the Iraqi take it. This is Kirkuk here. This is the city of Kirkuk, and around it there is a lot of oil. So the Kurdish, they are working hard to control that city, and if there is a war will happen between the Kurdish and the Iraqi, is going to be because of the oil of Kirkuk. You can go right now and search about Kirkuk oil, and you will see how much oil this location produce. Huge. So that can be a very huge strategic income for the Kurdish. Otherwise they don't have really too much of income to make except the oil. And if they can have their hands on Kirkuk, and already the Kurdish in Kirkuk are the majority, so they have it already, actually, you know, they already control Kirkuk. There's no question about it. But the Iraqi government, they will not let that happen easy. You know, there is a war is going to happen unless USA say it clear that you cannot pass this line to the Iraqi. And this is why I'm saying that the Kurdish, without USA and without Israel and without friends, they cannot make such a thing happen. For everybody around them is an enemy. So where is the friends? Almost there is no friends. So I hope that the Trump administration, they will do the right decision and they will take a stand. I understand until now they are saying they are against you know, the vote for independent in Kurdistan, and I understand that this is for like politics games, but in reality Trump, he must be working to help the Kurdish people to have their independence, because this will be significant for USA and for Israel, because Israel, USA, you know, Iran just yesterday actually, they try a missile which can reach up to 2,000 kilometers. So now they can reach Israel easy. You know, it's not like a question if they can or not. They can do it easy. So now, if USA have their own bases in Kurdistan, that will change a lot of things. Number one, they will not need the base which is in Turkey no more, and Turkey will not be important to USA anymore, because it's almost the same location and even better. You see, Turkey is here, Turkey, and I think Angelik is far away inside Turkey. Kurdistan is just like less than 3 minutes by the F-16 to be inside Iran. This is how easy to hit Tehran, and Tehran is here. So this is all total will not take even 10 minutes. So if Iran ever try to do something, you know, the USA Army and the Israeli Army and the Israeli forces, Air Force, missiles, defense system, whatever you name it, they do not need to fly all the way from here or there, or send even missiles, which is might take 20 minutes before it arrive. The impact can be immediately, and the same time the Israeli can install their doom system, which is preventing any Iranian missiles from reaching their area right in the front. So this is a very strategic location for the American and for the Israeli, and this is why I believe strongly that Trump, he will not let this opportunity go in the wind. This is a golden opportunity, and regardless what Trump and team say in the news that they are against the independence of the Kurdish right now, I believe they are for it big time. In the coming few weeks, we will see what will happen. Now, the election, I think, or the vote is going to be, I think, tomorrow, something like that. So all of us, we knew what will happen. All of us, we knew the vote will be 100% for the independence of the Kurdistan, and they will have, they will announce it right away, immediately. Now, what is next? Iran, Turkey, Iraq, Syria, they will be heavy, very heavy in the Kurdish, but in the same time, in the other side, the Kurdish, I'm sure, they did not take this movement and this step unless they have the full sponsor of USA specifically, and Israel after that. So it's going to be a struggle, but if really Trump, he want them to have their state, they got their state. If Trump, he say yes, who dare to say no? All the rest are potatoes. Now, after that, if they have their state established, then the Kurdish in Iran and the Kurdish in Turkey and the Kurdish in Syria, they will start working in their state. It might take another 20 years before those people, they announce their state again in those countries and they unite together. Now, remember here, if the Turkish this is Ankara, not in Kalarak. What Ankara? I'm not talking about Ankara. Who talk about Ankara? Anyway, if the Turkish, they try to put too much pressure on the Kurdish on Kurdistan, then the Kurdish, they will be able, they will for sure, they will be able to move millions of Kurdish to fight Turkey, and they will arm them. So there is pressure in both sides. Remember, already there's tens of thousands of Kurdish fighters already. They are bearing arms to fight the Kurdish, the Turkish army in those areas. You know, this is total population of Kurdish, almost zero Turkish people here. So yes, the Kurdish, they can suffer from pressure from Turkey, but the Kurdish too, they can put a pressure on Turkey. So it's going to be a dirty game. Who can, you know, let us say, hold the arm of the other person first? And if the Kurdish, they have the support of USA and Israel, and if the Israeli will supply them with a special kind of weapons, I think they can maintain and they can have their independence very easy. The second cross I made in Turkey is not important. Well, you know, I'm not looking at, like, I'm not giving exact location. It's just to show you Turkey. You know, the important here that USA is not in need in Turkey for no more. Who need Turkey after having a huge territory like Kurdistan? Not only Kurdistan is important for like location, Kurdistan have it's already their own finery and their own oil. So which means the USA defense system or airplanes, etc., they have a fuel right in the ground. You know, so America can build. I'm sure they will do that. They will build a big base, and as I know already, we have actually tons. We have I don't know how many thousand soldiers we have already in Kurdistan, but now is going to be legally, and they will sign an agreement to have an American base in that territory. So they have all the logistic needs, especially the oil, the airplanes. They can build their own system to be self-sufficient. So if they go in war with the Iran, that will make a huge difference. You know, going refueling, going to the Mediterranean to get oil, or to go to Israel, or and maybe Turkey will do the same dirty game. If you remember, when the American they have a war against Saddam Hussein, the Turkish did not allow USA even to use their base there. They did not. So what the benefit of this base? We are paying them money for nothing. So now American they will have a full base. Especially we have a base already in Qatar, but this is more important than Qatar because this is just close to Tehran. Tehran is here. Tehran is in this area here. So they can be all over the mullahs of Iran in less than a few minutes. This is why I'm saying it's very important to have that independent. Well, already the American already they have their bases, but it's not official, you know, small tiny ones, etc. Now after they get their independent and they have all the oil, they, you know, which can the major resource for the Kurdish as an income, the American they can establish their base very easy, and they do not need to import oil from different country, which costs a lot of money. You know, it's just local, and they can storage a lot of arms, a lot of weapon, and they can deploy a lot of soldiers very fast, very easy. And I'm sure the Israeli they will build a bridge between them, an air bridge between them and between the Kurdish, and right away the Israeli they will establish their own doom system in Kurdistan, and for sure Kurdistan will make good money from it too. It's an exchange of benefit. So it's a win-win for the Israeli, for the American, and for the Kurdish. It's a lose-lose for all the Arab and the Persian and the Kurdish, the Turkish around. And I believe strongly after they establish their own system here, things will go crazy in Turkey if Erdogan try to play a dirty game against the Kurdish, closing the borders, trying to, you know, put his arms around their neck to make them not to be able to breathe. Then the Kurdish they can move all their fighters here inside Turkey, and they can burn Turkey upside down. There is 18 million Kurdish easy in Turkey. So you can imagine what 18 millions can do. You know, when we say 18 millions out of, I think Turkey now is almost 80 million, we are talking about more than 25% of the population. You know, and there is other ethnic groups too in Turkey which is not happy at all. So that Turkey as Turkey, the one we know, is not going to be exist very soon. And I believe, you know, Turkey is going to face a lot of problems. You know, many problems. I'm not a prophet. I don't claim to be a prophet, but I believe that Turkey is going to be to face a devastating earthquake, maybe a year or maximum 10 years from now, and that earthquake will be the reason for this country to collapse. Economy of Turkey is bad. Erdogan already established a lot of things which is going to be harming Turkey for the coming maybe 30 years. People in Turkey already they are in struggle against each other. Liberals, atheists, Islamist, ethnic groups, Kurdish, Armenian, Assyrian, Alawite, Sunni. Things is crazy. The currency of Turkey is useless. The economy is extremely in bad shape. Syria border is closed. Iran, they are not really doing good with the Iranian, especially after the war in Syria. America, they are not too much friend with them. Israel is the same. Europe is the same. So Turkey is going to suffer badly. The coming earthquake, which is going to happen sooner or later, is going to be very harmful, and for sure, tens of thousands of people they will die. If you remember, the last earthquake happened in Turkey, Turkey went almost bankruptcy, and the one who saved Turkey, it was the stupid America. It was the American who did flood Turkey with money to sponsor the currency. Otherwise, Turkey was gone. And country without economy, the country right away will be divided. You see, those who they are ethnic groups in the country, they are not strong to ask for their independence, enter the country, suffer from something big. Exactly what happened in Iraq. When Saddam Hussein was strong, the Kurdish, they have no say. When Assad was strong, the Kurdish have no say. But now the strong one is weak, and now their opportunity to take over. And this is exactly what will happen. You know, so as soon as Turkey face a big problem with like big earthquake, which will destroy the economy, and everything will change. And already, as we said, there's a lot of problems in those countries. As an example, Iran. You see, Iran, because of the stupid Obama, he signed the agreement with Iran. Iran now is breathing again, and they were able to, you know, after almost 30 years of sanctions on them, they were able to refresh their machines, their equipments, and they bought 70 airplanes in one day. If the American sanctions stays on Iran, and Iranian, they cannot sell their oil as before, maybe by now Iran was going to collapse. If you remember, just a few years ago, before Obama, the 8th Obama, he signed the sanctions, the agreement, Iran faced big revolutions. Happen sooner or later. You see, economy is one reason to destroy any country. The same as what happened in Venezuela. You know, the Saudi, they have a plan to destroy their enemies. And what is the plan is, we will lower the price of oil, and that will make the Iranian go bankrupt. So they fixed the price of oil almost for 5 years, and the Iranian were suffering badly. But the Iranian, they were able to survive because in Iran, because of the sanctions, you know, they were not really important too much anyway. So the money is local, stay local, and they are not spending outside. So they were able to survive. But the one who was suffering from this sanctions, which is sorry, from the low price of oil, it was a country like Venezuela, who never dreamed that the price of oil would go down that much. And then the American discovery of fragging oil, like, you know, the new way to develop and to extract the oil from the ground, made a big change too, and that make the oil price go down. So Venezuela now is in the state of destruction. In Venezuela today, kidnapping, killing is just a daily news everywhere, you know, because the economy is collapsing totally. The whole country was independent or dependent on the oil, and now the oil is useless. They cannot, it's not even enough to buy them bread. Anyway, I believe strongly that Trump, he should take a great advantage of this event, and I believe he is already. You know, don't listen to what they say in the news that he is against it. I believe strongly he is with it. I don't think he's a fool to let such an opportunity to go without taking advantage of it. Kurdistan, that is a new change in the whole Middle East. It's like, you know, George Bush, he made a war in Iraq many years ago, and now it is time to cut or to collect the fruits of that war. USA lost a lot of money in that war because the stupid American, they start spending money building schools for the Iraqi, the same as they do in Afghanistan, thinking that those Iraqi will appreciate. Those are Shia Muslims. They hate you to death. It doesn't matter how much money you spend on them. Only benefit of this war is Kurdistan. Kurdistan today is going to be a new state, which can be a state of USA, part of USA, even though it's not really literally, but is going to be fully controlled by USA, and a great advantage for the Israeli. And at the same time, why not? We will help the Kurdish to have their own state. Those people, they are suffering for long, and those Arab, they are not allowed in. The Arab, the Shia, the Sunni, the Arab, the Kurdish, the Turkish, all of them not giving them a chance to have the country. They claim that if a group of people, they have a right to vote, and they speak of democracy, and they say, okay, this is democracy, here we go, this is democracy. The majority of the population there, they want to have their independence. What's wrong with you? So I believe strongly that Trump should support this big time, and if the Kurdish announce their independence and the Turkish or the Iraqi try to wage war against them, USA should take a stand immediately in Israel to defend the Kurdish. This is what I wanted to share with you. I hope you guys you did learn something from what I said. Leave your comment and let me know what do you think. Today we will have a live podcast again at 4:30 p.m. New York time. So be with us at 4:30 p.m. again, and may the Lord bless you all and have a great weekend, or the rest of the weekend for today. God bless and see you soon. Bye bye.